Meeting of the New Ross City Council to order. Again, I welcome the crowd, council, and the administration. With that,
All right, Mayor Cook,
here,
Councilwoman Grove is absent, Councilman Bond.
Here.
Councilman Shammy. Councilwoman Wright.
Here.
Councilman Lindsey.
here,
And Vice Mayor Emerson. Here.
and I guess the chief is left, so I guess I'll do the invocation. Our Heavenly Father, please grant us the serenity of doing the business for the citizens of the city of this great city. We welcome all of those folks that are here in attendance, and please bless our first responders. With that, amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, there he is. With that, I need the action on the minutes at 10:14.
Councilwoman Wright.
Yes.
Councilman Lindsey.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Eggleston.
Yes.
Mayor Cook.
Yes,
Councilman Bond.
Yes.
And Councilman Shammy.
and I need the action on the minutes for the 10:20 meeting.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion that we amend these minutes. In that meeting, we had moved to approve the minutes from 10:06, and in that vote, Councilwoman Grove was absent from that meeting, should have abstained from the vote. So we just need to amend that vote, please.
Is that all right?
He does not need a motion, he mentioned it, so the clerk can just amend those.
So on the approval, then Councilwoman Wright.
Yes.
Councilman Lindsey.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Eggleston.
Yes.
Mayor Cook.
Yes.
Councilman Bond.
Yes.
And Councilman Shammy.
All right, with that, we have the gentleman from Swim Safe Pool Management. If you gentlemen would like to come up and to the podium and address council.
Mr. Mayor, members of council, I introduce to you Carl and JP. They're the two people that we met with from Swim Safe.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Thanks for the invitation. My name is Carl Widener. I'm in charge of business development for Swim Safe Pool Management. This is JP Hayter. He's the vice president and manages the metropolitan area of Dayton and the pools that we manage and have professionally managed for the last 10 years. I know that you received our packet of information that we reviewed with April and Howie when we were up earlier this week, or last week. So happy to answer any questions that you have from that. Talk a little bit quickly about our company. It was founded in 2005, so it's 20 years and now serving. We started in the Cincinnati metro area and organically and intentionally grew it through the Dayton area and then finally expanded to Columbus in 2020. We currently manage 15 municipal pools in those three areas. The closest ones to here are the Tippecanoe facility in Tip City that we've managed for 7 years now, I believe. And then Vandalia, we do the year-round indoor Vandalia Recreation Center. And then in summer, we do the Castle Hills Pool. In addition to the 15 municipal pools, we do about 25 country clubs in those same three areas. And then a plethora of swimming, tennis, and tennis clubs. All of our pools, except for the VRC pools, are summer pools. We have in-house HR recruiting, safety, training. We certify all of our own lifeguards. We conduct drills throughout the summer in services. We have comprehensive swim lessons that we do through websites developed for each of our pools. So that the comment earlier of trying to get scheduled and so forth, that's all automated and allows people to get in and schedule with children. And then we communicate if there's any delays or weather issues, so we've addressed that. We also run concession operations in about 25 of our pools. We have a concessions manager, we have a tight relationship with the big suppliers of concessions, so we buy as a quantity buyer. We pass the cost of that on to you, that's not a markup situation for us. We'll talk a little bit, I'm running out of things to talk about.
We do everything for your facility. We're a turnkey operation, we open the pools, we staff all the guards, we provide all the chemicals, we provide all the paper products. We run the in-services, we conduct the pre-season health inspections. If the inspector would show up during the course of the season, we handle any situation where we come up with that. We coordinate well with cities, it's a partnership, we work well together. It's not like we come in and have some kind of system where it's like, I gotta do it our way and that's the way it works. No, we work with the city of New Carlisle, just like we work with the city of Tip or the city of Vandalia. Every pool is different. After hearing some of the responses here, you know, we're working with a different kind of facility than we would at either of those places. So for us to come in and try to implement it like we would there would make sense. So we cater our business to what each facility, each city, each community needs. And going to these kind of meetings and hear what the community talks about allows us to get that kind of understanding. But we provide the chems, we provide the paper products, and any kind of lifeguard services throughout the year, in services that are needed upon, you know, let's say something's not going right, we show up. As far as like what myself and my supervisors do, we show up 4 or 5 times a week to see how things are going. For better, for worse, whether they need us or not, we show up. What does this facility need? What does the pool need? I heard a lot of ideas about trying to grow. How does this pool gain more funding? How do we keep it open? We are a two-way street. We want to do the same thing as they're mentioning. So for us to come in and think that there's some other way to do it, that's not what we're thinking of. We want to work with the community, we want to work with you guys. How do we get this pool to where it needs to be? And we feel that through our kind of like persistence in the area and working with all these different clubs, and we can really provide New Carlisle with what they need as far as the lifeguard service, long-term planning. You know, you mentioned, you know, we're looking at a 1-year deal here. You know, what does this place look like 3 years from now, 5 years from now? Is it a pool that's salvageable, or do we need to look big picture for the community? You know, you mentioned the skate park and everything that's kind of next to that. So we understand that we're walking into a situation with a lot of things at play. We would love to make this work for the community. We understand kind of hardships that we're going into a little bit up front, but we do everything. And we feel like with our kind of like history and background, and just the knowledge of the area, what we need to do to keep pools afloat and surviving and thriving, we can help with that. So any kind of questions as far as details, what we provide, how we do it, we're open to all that.
One of the other divisions of our company is a construction and repair operation. We do everything but build pools inside the fence. So we would work with Howie to determine, you know, budget items like JP said. We have high expertise, we run super big pools, we run small pools. We have warehouses full of equipment and backup. Worst day for us is a pool that's not open. So we've been known around 150 miles to find parts and motors and so forth, keep pools open. And we can work with project management, or we can do the actual work, deck work, tile work, painting, whatever the pool needs on an emergency basis or on a planned basis. So that's typically what we do, is work in municipalities. A lot of them have their own staff, so they run the pool. But we bring in expertise and work with them to make sure that the pool's protected as best as can be.
Bill, you've got something?
Do you have an on-site manager daily, or just the 4 visits or 5
We would have an
visits?
so our typical formula is an on-site pool manager at all times. We have a head manager, and typically we hire 2 to 3 assistant managers. And at any point during that pool is open, either a head manager or an assistant manager will be on site during those times. The site visits for myself or the regional supervisor are just an extra level of supervision aside from the day-to-day with those managers. And myself and the other supervisor have, it's all day long kind of communication once the summer starts. It's all we do. So when that pool opens in the morning, we're checking in with the manager. So even though myself, my regional supervisor, may not be on site when the pool opens or when it closes, we're communicating with the management team that we've had in place throughout the season.
Okay. Another question, sir, you may have touched on it when you mentioned working with Mr. Kitco. So what would you need from the city to open the pool, or would you guys do that?
As far as like getting the pool
Water,
itself,
all that
we would do, so as far as the opening goes, we would do all that ourselves. We clean the pool, we fill the pool with water, we chemically balance it, we set up the preseason health inspection, we conduct that health inspection. Now, we don't pay for the licenses, that's something that's paid
Right.
for by the city.
Right.
But as far as getting that pool open, ready for the day one, that's all on us. That would include furniture, bathroom preparation, pool preparation, anything from, aside from cutting the grass, we would take care of that. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Go ahead, Mr. Long.
Is there, so if there's a major failure of a
Okay.
pool and it's gonna be closed for an extended period of time?
Sure.
The dollar figure we have here, is that like a prorated thing? Like we said, hey, it's gonna be 3 weeks till that pool gets repaired? Or is that something built into that, or?
It's such a rare one-off that would happen, it does say.
You haven't seen our pool.
I have, I've been down there, I walked around, I got the tour, I got the pictures, things happen, right? I think we
Sure.
would take that as every instance is so specific. If we knew for sure, let's say all of a sudden it's like, man, your motor is so specific, we can't find it for 3 weeks, we would work something out in that moment, almost aside from contract with that, because it's such a unique situation. I would find it very hard to believe. We've never had a pool in the history of SwimSafe, and I've been here for, this is my 16th year going in, shut down for 3 weeks, that's unheard of. Unless the pool itself is losing, 5 feet a day. So that's not a situation that we typically encountered. And if we did, we would be able to find that motor, I'd be able to think pretty quickly. 3 weeks is we've never had it happen, let's put it
The
that way.
contract has language and has formulas that if it's closed for a certain amount of days, this and that happens. We're not in the business of making money for stuff we don't do.
You're not gonna get an employee charge for, if you're closed, you're closed, and that doesn't mean that, so we would work with the community to say, hey, we wouldn't feel right charging you for a service we're not providing. If the pool's closed, we're not providing that service.
So we had several contracts with pools that didn't open during the pandemic, and we didn't charge them anything. It's just, that's how, look, we're in a long haul here. We're not making money without working for it.
So, one other question is, so what differentiates you from your competition? Because I know you're not the only pool management company.
That's correct. If you look around, I think word of mouth, and if you talk to any pool that we currently run, Tip City, Vandalia, we do multiple country clubs, Dayton Country Club, NCR, Moraine, we go as far south as Cellar Walk Community Clubs. They all recommend us. We provide the best service, we provide lifeguards. If you talk to any of our lifeguards that work for us, they always say they have a good working experience. I'm a father of 4, so I always think, when a 15-year-old goes home at the end of the day and the parent says, how was your day at work? I want them to say, well, I had a great day, or nothing, like my 14-year-old says. But at the same point, they say like, oh, this came up or that came up, we're ruining a summer experience at that point. So I would say we do a lot of things right. We do, from just brass tacks, we contract chemicals from a chemical company more than anybody in the area. So we get a better discount on chemicals than anybody else can provide. We work with a very large paper product company named Stigler, which, you might go to a Cyclones game or Reds game and see Stigler, right in the urinals there. So we work with a company that comes out, they do that. We work with concessions, and we have bulk providers there, so we get bulk pricing on that. So our pricing from chemicals and just our availability to also staff pools, having regional pools, staffing's an issue sometimes, no matter what the time of year is. We give opportunities for Tip City kids to come here, or a New Carlisle kid to go there. So it's an interchangeable system when you work with SwimSafe. You're not obligated to go anywhere, but we always feel like we can staff this pool because of our feeder pools around here as well. So we know that because of the vicinity we run, we can staff the pool properly, provide chemicals at the best price versus anybody else in the area. We work with a large paper product distribution company to get you products there you need. And overall, our job experience and quality of work for our kids, I take great pride in. It's a word of mouth thing. It really is. If we didn't provide kids with a good work experience, they would tell all their friends they wouldn't work for us. Instead, we keep growing, we keep picking up pools. Tip City just renewed, Vandalia just renewed, so it's not like we're on back end of deals here, like, oh, holding on for dear life. We're starting over with a lot of these contracts because we put that foot forward the past 3 to 4 years. So that's how I feel about it.
I think the big indicator is our retention rate of clients is virtually 100%. We don't lose schools. We talked to Eric Mack, the city manager of Tip City. He had experience with our competitor. We renewed our contract after we went out to an RFP originally, is how we started the relationship with them. But he can give you perspective between the two companies.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Sure. Got about 45 more minutes of questioning. Explain to us your hiring process, procedures, to who you hire, where you hire from. Do you hire locally? Do you hire bringing people in?
So we do not have some sort of like closet set of lifeguards ready to go and train to do Carlisle. Our main goal would be to take the exact same roster you had from last year, re-interview every single one of those kids and start with who new Carlisle is. Hire kids in the community, that's what it's all about, especially for Edinburgh tonight. That's where we want our kids to come from, we want to work at the pool. So we would start with new Carlisle, that's all we would do. And then if we don't find enough staff based off what we do for the community, we branch out just that kind of direction. There's no kind of scheme here where we have, like, well, let's bring our Columbus guards in, or let's bring our, no, it's.
You never cross those lines.
No.
Clubs never.
No, but we want to staff your pool with your kids and the neighborhood kids and neighborhood community, and so we start there. And if for some reason we look at the staff like, hey, we've exhausted what we can from this community, we're still short, we want to be able to make sure we can operate this, how this community is expecting us to, then we start to expand our search outside. But like I said, our hiring manager lives in Tip City. She's worked with me now for 4 or 5 years. She's manager at Tip for 3 years. She hires all the Dayton kids from Settlers Walk and, Sycamore Creek is our furthest south pool in Sycamore, or the Pickle Country Club. She does all that. So that range and her scope, you know, to bring kids in, and she has that kind of personality that makes kids want to work for us. And the wages have gone up over the years, so now our jobs look more appealing than maybe a McDonald's or Wendy's or fast food. He's like working outside. The community pool outside is a great job, and so that's what we're trying to strive for. So.
The other thing we've done is highly automate our hiring process. So it's all goes through the web, and they submit, and they can pick what pool they want to work at. We usually link to the city sites if that's what they want to do. We work with schools, we work with sports organizations, we work with swim teams. You know, that's where you find these people. We do a lot of referral type of incentive because an older brother or sister is told their younger siblings where the job is. So they know coming in what the expectation is, so it's kind of a repetitive thing. We life cycle people through because of the size of our organization. We have upward growth if we want to become an assistant manager and then a manager, and then some of our regional people started off as a lifeguard. So it's not a one and out kind of thing. It can be a 4 to 5 year cycle, which is kind of typical. We had a retention rate year over year from 24 to 25 of 66%, which is kind of unprecedented in the lifeguard industry to have 2/3. When you figure it's a 4 to 5 year, the highest you could possibly get is 80. That's if everybody came back and did make jump. So we get 66% of that. I think it speaks to what you can see.
Kids like our jobs. They do.
Thank you.
Sure.
Go ahead, Ken.
Yeah, I have a few questions, I'm sorry. How many adults to kids are you hiring? So all the lifeguards are kids, and we only have one adult supervising that and all the children in the pool?
In a perfect world, I hire all these adult managers that are teachers, and they run the high school. It's a pipe dream, it really is. We strive to have adult managers in every pool. It's just that search sometimes comes up against a brick wall. I think we've learned as time goes on, teachers' jobs become more stressful during their normal job, and they're not as open to also working in the summer. And so we do find that the majority of our staffs, especially lifeguards, are high school kids. It's not unusual at all for us to have an all college age management team. Now, by all means, we have an adult that wants to come in and run the pool and be that head manager. that's ideal for us. We would love to hire as many adults as possible. But the reality is 90% of our workforce is college and high school kids, and a lot of our managers end up being that college age.
That right there is concerning to me. That is one of our problems. We don't want all children running the pool. We like adults running our pool.
Oh, I'm not saying we can't find that adult, I'm just saying that that's our goal, is to strive to get an adult to run the pool, absolutely. You know, we're just, it's.
So you're getting cheap prices for us. You're not actually providing those paper products and those chemicals. You might be putting them physically in the machine, but you're not buying them. We're still buying all that stuff, correct?
It's included in the contract
It is
price.
included,
Yes,
the paper products and the chemicals are also included in the contract.
that's correct. The
Just
only-
for the sake of the audience, it's $139,550,000, just so you know that.
Say it again, I didn't follow. What did you say?
$139,500 is the estimate. Yeah, basically. Let's see, so at major repairs, at what point does the repair become major? Because we've had some big things go out that cost us a boatload of money. And
Those are
that
not,
is our biggest problem there. So if you buy a new motor for us, are we paying you to buy that motor?
yes.
Yes.
So we do not provide them, if your motor went down to your facility, we
Right.
provide a cost for you to replace that motor, yes.
Okay, but you're gonna do the job of replacing that motor?
That would be included in the bid to replace the motor. So our quote would be, here is the new motor that you need for your pool, and also our labor cost to install that motor.
Okay. And
Just
that's in addition to our
Yeah,
140?
It is,
There's no way to predict what.
No, I know there's not. That is what some of my worry is, because there's no way to predict.
No, a lot of our facilities are in the age of 30 years old,
I
40
looked
years
at
old.
pictures, and you got some dang nice pools. I wish we had one as big as that.
Oh, no, we do. No, I'm not here to say that we don't.
We got some good
No, we have pools that are 10 years old, we have pools that are 20, we have pools that are 30. We have pools that are pushing 40 years old, that face all the same issues as you do. How's our filtration? How is our motors? How is our pump system? How is our piping? Everything gets antiquated, and if facilities don't keep up with that stuff over the years, it will all fall on you at one time. So it's, from our perspective, we would love to fix anything that breaks in your facility. It's just impossible for us to predict that. Now, I did mention we can provide a plan for the future after going through your facility for one season to see how everything operates. I stop by your pool, I walk by everything, nothing's on, right? So I can't actually see how things are running. So we can't predict what your pool may need. We can do our best after season one to say, hey, here's how your pool ran. Your motor did this, we think it's great. Your filtration did not. We would suggest replacing your sand in the next, and I'm speculating.
Yeah, but I think that's
Sure.
what we already know that stuff. That's
Sure.
where we're already at.
Mhm.
So I'm having trouble finding the value. You're
Okay.
hiring our people and we're paying them still?
No, we pay them.
You are paying them.
All,
Okay,
so that contract includes
that's
all the
good to know.
payroll, opening the pools, all the payroll, the closing of the pools, all the chemicals, all the paper products, all the training, and anything that may go in that miscellaneous. Anytime a kid shows up to the pool, they clock in and we pay for it. We don't see extra charge for that. You're busy one day, we have to bring in an extra guard, you won't see a charge for that. We mess up chemicals and end up doing something where we pay for that. You would never see an extra charge for that. The only time the city would have to pay for something extra will be beyond what we could currently see. Which, to your point, which is, like you said, it's a concern for your pool and any other pool that we encounter that's aged. We just can't predict it. As much I'd like to say, sure, we include one pump replacement with every pool, we just can't do that, because that could be 3,000, 10 grand, 15 grand, we totally understand.
We know,
So when
yeah.
that does come up, we would do our best to provide you with a cost as cheap as possible to keep your pool operational. Or we work with the community, say, hey, do you have a team in-house that can do this cheaper? Can we work together to make this half the cost? That's what we try to come in and do our best value. But it'd be unfair for us to try to predict what your facility may need without operating. So,
Okay, one more question.
sure.
How many, so you have 3 children lifeguarding every day,
Mhm.
1 concession person every day, 1 manager or assistant manager every day, and that's it? So how many children are you supervising at that time? How many children in the pool playing are you supervising? When do you bring in another lifeguard?
We don't operate based off of, we cannot provide a contract with an ebb and flow of how the pool goes throughout the day. So we don't do what you just said. We do one manager, assistant manager, all day, every day during the hours. 3 guards, all day, every day. But we provide a 1 guard, 5-hour swing shift on weekends, because we're anticipating higher flow traffic on weekends. So we're on our end trying to predict our best to accommodate you with the staff you need, but also trying to keep in those restraints of not overstaffing, not understaffing. So we're in a tricky spot there. So we do 3 guards all day, every day, extra swing shift on the weekends. That way, during the week, maybe you're slower. 2 guards up, 1 guard rotates, manager down. So you have 2 people down, 2 people up, good supervision. Weekends are busier, maybe you go 3 guards up. So you have 3 guards up, swing shift, kind of helps cover that 4th guard, and the manager is certified typically as well. And concessions, we have a swing shift as well, daily, because the size of your pool, there's like 1 concession worker in there, we anticipate that it'd be busy at times. So we provide a 5-hour swing shift, or, maybe a 4 or 5-hour swing shift for concessions as well daily to accommodate the,
So Saturday and Sunday, right?
I think concessions might have been every day of the week. I think the lifeguard extra supervision was weekends only, but I believe the concessions help was daily.
I lost that. so-
There's a front desk in as well, checking people.
Concessions is separate, and then we have one, so.
And then we buy the concessions
Yes, we bill you monthly.
Just what
for
you
the
buy.
concessions that you buy, or we have to buy from you.
We buy them on your behalf, we bill you the cost on a monthly basis. So you get 3 concession inventory. And then typically our concession person has a credit card that if you run out of something and if they go local, they're gonna go that. So-
On our end, there's no concessions markup at all. So all we do is we buy the product that we've agreed upon before the season starts. Here's our menu, here's the pricing. We buy everything. We hand you the receipt. That receipt is accommodated for, and that's it. So any markup that is done is on the city side to help, you bring money to the pool. Yep.
Okay. Thank you for your answers, I
Sure.
appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Kidco.
I was just gonna add to it, you already covered the concession part. Maintenance, we do have our water crew that we do every year right now for opening and closing. They'll take some of the opening and closing off, but we always set aside some maintenance costs, which would be on top for if that pool pump goes. They might be able to get us a price of that pool pump a little bit cheaper. I know it ranges about $8,000 is what we paid before. But my guys with that pump could put that in at a sunken cost from the water department. There's a few things like that we would be covering. And there is the electric, gas, and that extra maintenance that we would already try to budget for anyway. The good thing would be is the staffing and not having any issues. And I believe we've had a lot of good reviews with what they do at TIP. So, I mean, it's right there, and you have resident experts. I think for years, let's go back even before I was here, it's just always been really trying to do what you can, bring in someone in early spring, and do what you can. It is hard on that employee, doesn't matter who they are. So I'm thinking with some resident experts, do all this all the time, and then they have a core, correct me if I'm wrong, a core group behind them ready to step in. That manager goes and moves on, they have another manager already trained to do the same exact thing. Us, we'd be putting something out in the newspaper, we just don't know. So it's just some of the things we looked at when we were trying to look at what we potentially could pay for, what the vision is, the condition of our pool. We do have some maintenance people on staff that can help out with that. The biggest thing with this whole project will be funding. As everybody said, I've already done homework well before on some of these grants that allow this. So those are available. They come with certain stipulations for certain times, new pools, things like that. I think the big thing will be here for them to come in, do their part on the expense side, do our best to have it run like that. Then it falls on the people on the outside to help get that sponsorship bring in those additional revenues. We've already looked at our gates. The gates are right on par. We've gotten 3 or 4 other pools in the area, looked at their passes, and they're all over the place. Honestly, some are lower than ours for pool passes. But there are some other items within those that could change. So we're digging into those. We think resident experts, if it's council's desire to move forward, it would be on the council, the city staff, the residents, the volunteers, and local businesses, whether they're local to city or they're local enough that they want to participate in this pool to offset, the cost to operate and make it minimal. The second part of this is, while this happens, we feel if they come through in 2026 and the pool it's gotten popular, more people want to invest into it, that we look at putting an affirmation vote, as in what's out for tomorrow. Does New Carlisle want an aquatic center, regardless of how big you want to go or how small you want to go? The Parks and Rec, and there's 8 applicants now, how far do they want to go to support this? So you get an affirmation vote in next November, after the season, and then they say, hey, we got 60% of the people want to do a pool. All right, here comes the levy. And then, obviously, in that affirmation vote, the dictation of how it will come to them will be in there. And if most people want to do it, we'll put a levy out there. We already know that the citizens spoke, and then that's that project where in 2028, we'll have a potentially new facility, and then be able to move on from there.
Go ahead, Bill. If we did this, Mr. Kiko, and let them run the pool for a year, that would give us better numbers than what we have had in the past on the operation of the pool, correct? And while you're thinking about that, a question for the gentleman up here. It would cost us no more than the $139,550 unless the pump went out.
Correctly. Well, and I will state this, there are things that happen in the pool throughout the course of the year, we have to replace parts. So I would work with the city to see if there's parts on hand. There are chemical feeders that may need a new tube.
Right.
That's not included in the contract, it just isn't, and so if there's something that needs repaired in the pump room that's pool related, that is not included in the contract.
Right.
So I would work with the city, do we have those parts on site? If not, no, okay, here's how much that part's cost, so when you get your next invoice, here's what you see that part is. I fully understand it's not our money to spend. Like, even when we put together a full contract, because all you have right now is a snapshot. We have a number in there that says, hey, anything under $150, we just go ahead and fix. We would still communicate that to you. I'm not gonna spend 10 charges at 140 and then you get, that's not how we operate. We wanna work, it's a partnership. We wanna work with you. We wanna be as efficient as possible, as safe as possible, and provide everything that you've already been receiving, and then hopefully then more. And so I think we want to work with you. So if a part breaks down, it's not like, awesome, now I get to charge them X amount. It's, hey, this broke, you have it with you, if not, okay, unfortunately, to run your pool, you need A, B, or C. And so that's where we feel with our knowledge and just our resources, we can really help provide that kind of stuff for you, so.
And with the amount of pools that you guys currently operate, you buy stuff in bulk, so you
Yes, sir.
could probably even get motors cheaper because you have, I think we've already replaced our motors, but you probably have a lower price than what we would have to pay for.
We have a lot of vendor relationships over the years because of pools of this size that have motors go down. It's
Right.
become a necessity in our business. If we let every motor go down and tell our customers, sorry, we don't have that or have no accessibility to get it, well, what's our purpose? We're not providing you anything that you may not be able to provide on your own. And so when Carl mentioned driving 150 miles, we've been to Louisville, we've been to Lexington, we've been to Indianapolis, because we understand it's only a 3-month operation. Here it's even less. Time is of the essence.
Mhm.
Any kind of closure is money lost, community upset, what's going on, why did you let it get to this point? Questions start flying, and so we take it upon ourselves to address that equipment up front. But to your point, everything's included except what we can't predict. Outside of that, we work with everybody else, what you have on hand, we're not gonna charge you for anything we don't have to, so.
Okay, thank you.
And so with your number, so this base number is not counting our liability, we gotta pay for our liability, communications, phones, cameras, things like that. Gas and electric, obviously he said utilities are included, so, you know, if we get a good year, some years we've only spent 7,000 in maintenance, that would be on top of this. There's been other years, if that pool pump goes down and filters go down and something else goes down, it could be 20. I think it's more of the experience, so no, that is not the max cost. We were trying to do some budgeting, adding all the few things that we would have to do, it'd be maybe 190, you know, and try to make up that additional with the sponsorships and stuff. But have someone professional run the pool. So it's gonna be a little harder work because of the additional cost, but I think we could get there.
Now, last year, Mrs. Harris, what did we spend on the pool last year? I thought you said the total cost was like 190?
For 2025, this last
Yes, ma'am.
season, we spent 151,000
151?
expenses. That included our wages and our operating, our maintenance. And they brought in 108,000,
Okay,
so we actually had to subsidize about 43,000.
so we had no pumps or anything to do this year, but a year or two ago, there was a pump or two that we replaced, I believe.
We had the pump and motor go out a couple years ago.
Right. So those should be, you would think, in good shape. However,
Yes, sir.
I've had brand new water pumps blow over, so.
Now moving
It's an
parts.
unpredictable business.
Exactly.
Yes, it is.
All right, thank you.
Ms. Harris, I would imagine the numbers that you just quoted from last year's expenses did not include the time the city manager, our public service director, our executive assistant city manager, or assistant manager here, was actually not working at the pool. So if you had a ballpark, how much more additional would have been if you cut back from their salaries and plus our water department salaries into those figures, if you had a ballpark?
So our costs would go up. I don't have those in front of us. We've never, because we're already on the clock, our personnel, HR department will do the interviewing and along with the school management, and we do all the paperwork.
Right, right.
Our water department does the openings, and they do a lot of labor. They're already getting paid for the water department. So even the P&Ls that we've had prior that tend to need subsidized by the general fund doesn't include all that. It would be the same, because a lot of, maybe you'll be taking some of that 139,500 and eliminating a little bit of our expenses that we don't have.
Paychecks.
But if you're kind of
paychecks,
comparing to 80,000.
Like all of our hiring, all of the background stuff that no one sees is all included in that as well. You know, all the hiring, the follow-up, get the I-9s, get them in payroll, get them on board, get them staffed, get them scheduled, get them in the pool. That process, people like to think it's A to D, it's A to Z. There are 26 steps to get there. But that's all part of, you know, you're not gonna see an HR bill from us or a chemical bill. Like, it's just, it's part of what we do, so.
I just believe there's a lot of
Sure.
other costs
That's a good point.
associated with
Absolutely.
this that doesn't get reported on the P&L.
Especially with city pools,
Yes.
people just get, hey, while you're here,
Right.
this is kind of what you need to do today, or, you know, for the season, for
Sure.
lack of better.
I got a lady back there who's got something.
Is that all right if I'm sorry. Have you seen revenue increase as a result of your management of the pool?
I think it depends on the pool you're looking at. So a good example for me would be, we ran the Woodhaven, we still run the Woodhaven Swim and Tennis Club in Centerville. And I'm almost 9 years in, and when we first started running that pool, they were in the red, you know, and it just, and so I can blindly say for sure, the pool's in the black and very successful. So we have taken some pools, I'm not saying it's what we do for a living, is bring them, you know, but a private pool's, it's different than working with a city. But we find that we can at least keep you where you're at, like, we're not gonna bring you down. You know, we have found that in the past, because of what we can provide, that number stays, like you asked, you know, is that 139, it is what it is, you know, it's to provide everything the pool needs just up front. But I wouldn't have any studies really to say, hey, at X percent of our pools, the revenue goes up. It really depends on what the city decides to do when they work with us. Are we raising prices on membership? Are we,
Do you
Raising
set
staff?
that, or that's
No,
the
absolutely
city?
not, no, the city
Okay.
would set that. So we may have recommendations, but typically not for a city, because we have no experience. I'm not from New, so for us to come in and say, hey, that wouldn't be our place, so.
We've seen some growth in the concession side because one, of how to buy.
I
And
would-
secondly, we have 20 years history of what high margin things are versus not.
Yeah,
What's
right.
high spoilage, what's high walks out the door. So usually we see a growth there. Sometimes we see a little bit more on the front end, not so much on municipal pools, but, friends of friends kind of walk through the gate without paying.
Mm.
So, kind of what we do. Not a huge needle mover, but like JP said, not hits, usually on the upside.
I had a question too, if that's okay. Sure. The stuff that they were adding, like the extra, events and stuff, and the things that would go past the hours, is that something that you guys would have to?
All we do is we have a set rate that we pay the lifeguards extra time and a half because they're staying after normal hours.
Right.
We're open to accommodating anything the community wants to do. Before, after, it does not matter to us, we'll staff it and that'll be that. It's just an additional charge from that because
Right.
it's outside of the normal scheduled hours. So
Right.
your hours are 12 to 8, if you had a party from 8 to 10, let's say you needed 3 guards, we'd have a number associated with that guard for that hour, but whatever you want to do is fine by
You
us.
guys just have no problem with?
No, not at all, we want you to do as much as possible,
We
yeah,
do
yeah.
that also.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so things like those that are outside of normal hours, parties, we will set a rate that they tell us, hey, it's gonna cost you for 2 hours, 2 guards, $100.
Right.
Then we'll go, okay, well, last year it cost us 90, so we need to make up $10. Well, you know what, we also need to make up some profit margin. So we might bump the pool parties up a little bit more, because we tend to get a lot of parties. And I don't think if we bumped it up a little bit, that that's gonna be an issue. I think they'll still purchase it. But yes, the margins on that, the margins on the concessions, and then the other side of this whole thing is, there's been a lot of talk about volunteering. I'm all about volunteering. We have some people on staff that are very familiar with volunteering through private organizations. It's good when you're not dealing with city funds and when you're not doing anything that can cause a liability. We are very cautious on when we have people come in just to mow grass. Because if they get hurt, even though you say you sign a waiver, a liability form, there's still a very large or high potential for a lawsuit. If you need to do more purchasing from the city, let's just say they're not coming in and we want to run it as the city, and you want volunteers, we almost have to put you on staff, paid to be able to go to Sam's, run that credit card. There's a lot of liability things that go with volunteering. There are some things down there that can volunteer, but it's not a whole lot of things like lifeguards. It's not really hard to volunteer. And I can tell you, this is just for any manager, it would be hard to volunteer your money. It's tough enough as it is, with doing that, with trying to volunteer. And when I say volunteer, you're paid staff, you get your paycheck, you would come in and do a cash donation. That's tough to do.
Mr.
So-
Kiko, I'd like to add to that. There's also additional costs associated with working with volunteers, especially when there's youth involved. As far as background checks go, just in that alone, you just can't have any random volunteer coming in and working with youth that are not properly vetted, the FBI, BCI background checks. So there's additional, that's $75 just for that background check. So you also have the training aspect of working with the volunteers, so there's another cost associated with that. And so, I just wanted to add that to what you were talking about, the volunteer side of it. I do have another question though about concession items. In the event that, you have waste or, product that is outdated, do you send that back to your vendors and do you get a credit? And then is that credit passed on to the city as well?
Each vendor's a little bit different. So like our ice cream vendor, Blue Bunny, fantastic. Like he comes in every week, he sees what you need, he'll take it all back at the end and provide a credit. Other than that, it's really on swim safe at that point. Like we've gotta be diligent as far as like end of season, stop ordering as much, reduce the menu, common sense kind of stuff, but at the end of the day, if there's a ton of waste, I'd feel pretty bad not crediting back the city to our fault, so since we take on the concessions operation, we take on the ordering, we take on the inventory, so that'd be up to us to make sure we have as little as possible on that last day. I think we ask for some grace hey, we got some stuff on the last day, let's do that price, let's push all the inventory. Unless you have events in the community where it's like, hey, keep that ice cream because we can roll over to a Fall Fest or something like that. But if there's an extreme amount of inventory because we didn't order properly, we would credit you back. It's typically not an issue because Maggie, our concession supervisor, is on our concessions managers to not be wasteful.
I want to address the employee thing. Everybody that we provide is a W-2 employee of the company. We cover them with BWC coverage. We also carry $10 million worth of GCL coverage, which is way higher than everybody else has. It's very expensive, but because of the amount of pools that we guard and country clubs and so forth, we boosted that from $5 million to $10 million. Haven't used it.
Commitment on the
I'm gonna make a
Is it a
recommendation.
year-to-year contract?
So, yes, it's a one-year contract, and typically in a relationship like this, we want to get through the first year, make sure everybody's really happy. There will be an option in there that can be triggered by a certain date for 2027. I talked to Howard about with the fragility of the pool and funding, and it's not the first municipality that's come to us and said, look, you know, if Santa Claus doesn't show up with the money on the 24th, can I call you on the 25th and call it off? The answer is you have to write it in there correctly. Can't happen May 1st, if it happens before the end of the year. We have a large pool up in Bexley, we do the same thing, they don't get funding until the 20th of December. So we, again, not making money for that one. It's pretty simple.
Go ahead, Mr. Vaughn.
So what is the date when you would need to know to have a contract to be able to?
That kind of depends on what your process here is. You know, usually we look for it in mid-September, early October. Sometimes that drags on a little bit. You know.
Well, this is November.
It's one of those things where once we work with a partner, we start hiring right away, because that's the hardest part of our job is hiring guards, getting the staff, getting that whole process, the hardest part of what we do. So sooner the better, you know, but we took on a contract last year, it wasn't ideal, but it was in March, and that was very difficult. February is difficult. The sooner we know, the better, because it allows us to do our thing, which is reach out to all the former employees, who's coming back, who's not. Let's start getting the base for the next summer, because without a staff, there isn't a pool, you know, it all, you know, it's weird, it starts with like the 15 to 16-year-olds, and so in a way, talking to those high school kids, so that's based on our timeline, is the sooner the better, because we can start our hiring quicker.
It's a clear message. The longer we both have a plan to work this thing together, the higher the rate of success. So, I hear it's in November, I was giving, sooner the deadline, the sooner somebody does something, but that doesn't mean we step over that.
Vice Mayor.
You had said that lifeguards, you would go to last year's roster.
Correct.
Same with management?
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
The entire staff.
We would re-interview everybody on staff.
Okay.
All right, let me ask council something. Do you think that we need to, I guess the word is select our committee, Parks and Recreation Committee, before we go any further with this and let them have a say in this? I personally think that if we don't include them, we're gonna be doing a slap in the face and not allowing them to have some say in this. Go ahead, Mr. Kitchen.
I think most of the people, some of the people that applied, like, are here. The Parks and Rec Committee, right now does have an ordinance in place for 5 members. We were looking to set a motion for Monday, obviously, to get some members. Here's the caveat to this whole thing. It is the budget, which gets introduced November 17th, which a week before that has to be advertised and everything. So by the latter part of this week, there has to be a decision. So really tonight, so the budget can be introed for November 17th and then passed early December for operating in January. Ms. Harris might be able to clarify a little bit on that, but
Can I offer a thought here? What if we were to hold and this is a question for Jake, what if we were to hold a special meeting and pass that, or introduce that budget?
The operating budget,
Yeah,
Special meeting,
basically you're saying we've got to have that passed by,
so the budget has to be introed November 17th and pass the first meeting in December. So that way, once it's approved and then effective, it has to get over to the county auditors and everything all before January 1.
So we're on a time crunch, I think. And, if I may, sir.
go ahead.
We're on a time crunch with the budget, and I hate to say it, but it seems like every year, we wind up in a time crunch, getting stuff to the auditor, so we can get our certificate so we can operate next year. We don't usually get that certificate till the end of January or in February, before we get that certificate back.
No, as soon as the legislation is approved in December and the effective date, I'm good to go for January 1.
Okay,
And the budget is drafted
right,
prior to this discussion
right,
for having the funds in there if the pool was to open.
Right.
Based on the decision that was supposed to come in March.
right.
If that stays and this is a change, we would have to just amend it as soon as it's approved in January. If we can't make.
And if I remember correctly, at the last meeting, we put $150,000 in the pool budget in case we decide to open it next year. So I would suggest to council, if council so desires, to put a motion forward to accept this. It's cheaper than. Audience, please, I'm speaking.
Sorry.
Hold your applause till if we pass it or not. It may not pass,
Okay.
so don't get too excited, please. We have 150,000 sitting there is what we estimated that it would cost to run the pool next year. If we hire this company at the 139,550, they take all of the expenses to run that pool out of this, except for major repairs and stuff like that. Yes, ma'am?
It's my understanding that their services is going to replace our payroll, chemicals, and operating supplies as in concession.
Right.
The gas, the electric, the maintenance.
We still have to
all
pay
our
that.
expense.
Mhm.
This could increase the 150 to about 190,000
Okay.
in expenses with a 90,000 revenue for a $100,000 potential loss. But we do have a potential loss. Anyway, we had 34,000, 42,000 this year, 44 the year before, so it's just,
We normally have a loss on the pool every year
yes,
of 40,000 plus.
the last 2 years have been 40,000 each.
Kathy,
Yeah, I would actually prefer to go back to our limping way and run it another year, you know, spend some of this extra money that we're talking about losing, and maybe get another manager there, give the board time to get their ideas together, and we're taking what was gonna be a little loss and now guaranteeing a bigger loss in my mind. I see it no other way.
your thoughts, Mr. Bond?
I think I need to think about this a little bit before I make a decision on this, just to be honest with you.
Well, and I'm with you.
And I understand we're on a time crunch here budget-wise, but there's more to consider than just at face value. If we're done with these gentlemen, we could ask them to sit down too. We're just gonna discuss it too.
Well, what is the pleasure of council then? Do you want to go ahead and, I guess the word is, the next available meeting, which I don't think would be, I think I talked to Don today, he would not be available for a Monday or Tuesday meeting.
Right, we were looking to just do a motion on Monday for some Parks and Rec interviews to get that, moving. But then the next meeting would be the second meeting in November, November 17th? November 17th.
So you're planning on putting the plan, or I'm sorry, voting on the applications on the second meeting in November?
Yeah, so there's a little more to that too. So right now you have in the charter, it's 5 members for Parks and Rec, you have 8 applicants. So the question tonight was, do you want to amend that section of the code and make it 7 members like we did with Social Services Commission? Because if that's the case, then we have to have that ordinance coming up Monday the 10th to amend, and then you can do the interviews following that passage of that ordinance. And then we can swear in those folks the first Monday in December.
All right, go ahead, Bill.
If you gentlemen would like to have a seat in the front row here, that'd be great. That way I can talk to you guys and then see them too. If we change the charter from 5 to 7, that would be a charter amendment, and the public would have to vote on that.
No,
Would they not?
no,
It's an ordinance.
That's still an ordinance?
Yes.
The number.
The number of members, okay. Would council want to hold a meeting maybe next week, next Monday, to do the ordinance? Can you have the ordinance ready by Monday?
Yeah, no problem.
We could do it as in, God, don't shoot me for this. Did y'all know I hate emergency ordinances? Correct?
Don't worry, we're not allowed to carry it.
Pardon me?
We're not allowed to carry it. You're safe.
Yeah, I know. And do it as an emergency. I know we only need 5, but if we got 7 people that wants to be on these committees, we should try to accommodate them, because the more help we can get, the better off I think we'll be. But the thing about these committees, you have to live in the city of New Carlisle. You can't just have a New Carlisle address.
All the applicants that have applied are within the city of New Carlisle, all residents.
Okay. And we could do that if council so desires, and then we can get the Park and Rec Board on board next week, along with that emergency ordinance.
Well, are you suggesting that we do the interviews on Monday night along with the ordinance?
Right, we'll go into executive session, in my opinion, and do the interview, and then come back into regular meeting and appoint who we decide to appoint. And if it's, I mean, we may get 3 more applications between now and Monday, who knows? You know, if we only have 7, we still need to interview them, we need to know who we're putting on these boards, and then decide if we want to put all 7 of them on there.
Any comment?
I'm fine with that, but I also am fine with just 5. I mean, I don't see a problem with 5. When I was on the Parks and Rec Board, we only had 3, and it was very difficult to get something done, but 5 would have been okay. But it's whatever, that's not a big deal.
So my question to council is, do you have availability for the next Monday, November 10th, to have and also, do we have enough time to get it in the paper? I'm looking at the wrong one. Do we have enough time to get the notifications made? So if council wants to do that on November 10th at 6 o'clock, we can have the meeting, pass the ordinance, go into executive session, interview the applicants, come back go back to regular session, and then appoint. Clerk can swear them in, and then we will have a board next Monday for the Park and Rec. And then Christine will be getting letters out to all the applicants. If that's council's pleasure. If it is, I will put all I just said into a motion.
We'll do the motion first.
I'll second.
The motion to have a meeting next Monday. At 6 o'clock.
All right, so a motion for a special meeting, on November 10th at 6 o'clock.
Yes.
And during that, we will amend the Parks and Rec ordinance. We will have interviews for Parks and Rec board.
In executive session, the other people.
And do swearing in.
Yes.
Is that okay?
Go ahead.
He's talking.
Okay, so, that part's good. Now for the budget. There is the potential to, again, the budget has to be definitely passed. Let's say it was the second meeting in December, it would have to be an emergency. If we want to go the regular route, we may have to do a special meeting. So then that way, the beginning of December, that budget could be passed. But there has to be a little bit of time in there for Ms. Harris to be able to have the budget amended. We have to have the advertisement in the paper. There's the capital program and the budget, they're the two that are real critical with their advertising. So we just have to make sure that we do that. So there's a couple options to where if you do the Parks and Rec Board and you are still considering the pool operations, that we can still get the budget passed. There is the potential for the budget to go through as an emergency ordinance. If council's desires to need that little extra time to maybe have another meeting or two about the open or closure, or how it's open, to make that decision, have Colleen edit the budget, and then it can go in for action.
Mr. Vaughn.
Will Mr. Hall be available, say, middle of the week next week for a meeting on
That's,
this? Say
that was
Wednesday?
my thoughts, that probably Wednesday.
Yeah,
I think
if we scheduled a meeting to meet on the 12th, just to discuss this possibility of using the management and the budget impact and all that. I just feel like he needs to be involved in that meeting too, so,
An additional one for Monday.
and Wednesday, yep.
When would you guys have to know, if, let's say, right now, we're passing the budget at the last minute, middle of December, and they did use that, want to do a contract, is that enough time in the middle of December?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Kiko.
All right, hang on, go ahead, young lady.
So, sorry, my back was hurting, I had to stand up. There's a vote on the ballot in November, or well, next week, tomorrow, that could impact the city budget as far as the liability insurance if people are carrying guns, right? The city council members. That has to be amended in the budget too, doesn't it?
If it passes.
If it passes. But that's what I'm saying, we already have to do an amendment, is what I'm saying, hypothetically.
There are potential for supplementals, so once a budget is passed, if anything comes or goes, after January 1, you can do a supplemental, in which, obviously, if this goes, the vote gets certified, it'll be mid-December. This won't make it in the budget, but then once council, if it was then that they would do legislation, let's say that is in now February, then we'll get with all the appropriate insurance, they do the legislation. At that time, then a supplemental, if needed, would then be to bring in, or for those expenses.
'Cause that's gonna be a lot, right? Isn't it like 40 grand?
We're not real sure, but there's the potential.
I have a question.
Okay.
We said the pool cost, we had a $40,000 loss last year and a $40,000 loss the year before. So did that make our pool $148,000 for each year?
I do each year individually.
Right,
So
so,
explain your, I mean, just tell me that question
okay,
one more time.
last year, we took in 108,000 and our expenses were like 148.
151, and we lost
And-
42.
And then last year, the year before was similar, correct? Okay, how did we get to 190 when we wanted to take the contract for 139 and you said it would be 190,000 and we'll be losing a lot more money when we take their contract. And their contract was only $139.
So their contract is $139.5, and that replaces our payroll. The
Our what?
payroll portion
Oh,
of our expenditures ran 89,000 last year.
mhm.
So that's increasing the potential loss of 60,000. But then we do pay for chemicals, which we won't, so we reduce that back out, that's about 15,000. So going with their service, based upon our history of doing it ourselves, I'm estimating it being a possible $90,000 to $100,000 loss with that service, because we still pay
But I
for all
don't-
our other expenditures.
Yeah, but we also, they're incorporating other expenses that we normally pay. So I don't see where it's gonna be that high.
So they.
Because I really see where it's gonna be a plus if we went with them. Because it's gonna take a lot of stress off the city. It's gonna take a lot of time off the payroll as far as the employees. And as far as the losses, it just doesn't add up when you go up to 190.
So let me break it down one more time.
Okay,
So I would pay, this year we paid 89,000 for salary. For our
Okay.
wages, benefits, the whole package.
and you're counting the salaries of the pool people?
Full people only,
Okay, and they're gonna take care of it,
for 139.5.
yes.
That's
Instead of 90.
$60,000 more.
And what?
That's $60,000 more than if I do it in-house.
Right,
I'm not saying us.
right.
Then they are going to pay for, and of course, the labor is wonderful, I'm not knocking that. It's not fun to do the work we do in-house. But when you're talking about the budget and the numbers, I'm just trying to get the numbers out there so everybody can make their decision, council. can make their
Right, I
decision.
agree.
They will pay for chemicals and the concession.
Uh-huh.
In our budget, that's about 15,000 that we'll save. Now, we just added 60
Is
for
that
labor.
what you think the chemicals and concessions add? Is that
That's
what
what we
That's
spent.
what we pay,
That's what
that we won't be paying.
Okay,
So the rest of it, the gas and electric, we still pay, that's 14,000. Communication, we still pay, that's 1,000. Maintenance of the facilities and maintenance of the equipment, we still pay. Our budget is 16,000 for that. That's what we're talking about, pumps, they can help us locate them, we still pay for them. Memberships, liability insurance, we still pay for. Concession supplies, we still pay for the concessions. So all of our normal expenditures, less the chemicals and the operating supplies, we still pay for on top of the 139,500. That's why it will cost us more. Great service option, it sounds wonderful, I'm just the numbers person saying it will cost us more, so we will have a potential higher loss than keeping it in-house for the numbers. Did that help? There's a lot.
I'd have to
We
see
need
it
to
in writing. Yeah, okay, thank
One
you.
thing that I think we're kind of missing though.
May I add something to that, please? If that's okay?
Hold on a
Sorry.
second, just a
Okay.
second. Can you tell me what numbers were?
So the concessions brought in about 30,000 last year, and we paid about 13,000. We make good money on concessions, which we still will,
So,
because they might even get us better market between them.
I was just adding that up as you were going, and expense on top of the 139 is an additional $90,000.
How much?
An additional $90,000.
So their fee, okay, their fee plus some expenses will take us to 190,
Yes.
okay? Now, that's the simplest way to put it. Their fee plus some expenses will take to 190. Then we have the revenue of 108, or 100, whatever it is, thousand. So right now, with no general fund coming in to support this pool, true profit, true loss, it would be a $90,000 deficit. We're normally on the 40. So that's, but on the back end, we are starting this year, because of last year's transfer, we're starting an estimated just under 90,000, I think it's what, 92?
But that's just your checkbook balance. If
That's-
you want
yeah.
to do a profit and loss, it's.
Right, so
your
your-
expenditures.
Right, your profit and loss is gonna be like that every year. The general fund just so happened to bring some in there, to help a little bit. but we still have another 50,000 on top of what it was last year, that we really need to make up with some sort of additional revenue. That's through that corporate sponsorship. So yes, the cost to do the contract is gonna be more, but it takes a lot of stress off of departments that no one knows about.
That's kind of what I
Oh,
wanted
no,
to
I
add.
think it's a great idea
Yeah,
to
and
go
I think
with
Parks
that.
and Rec can.
I'm
make-
trying to say a case for them, and it seems like it's backfiring.
May I add something to that, Bill, please? Is that okay? I don't think you guys understand the magnitude of people that you have backing this, because the people who are standing up for this, they have changed the PTO scene, they've changed so many other things in their line, and they have sound heads. I see it from all angles. I see the fiscal part, I see the communities part, but the people that are standing up to become on your board for the Parks and Rec, the people who are standing up for the pool, they have a drive that I've personally seen. That you've got people standing up for the community who is going to drive the community into a sound fiscal year. That's what I'm trying to say. You have a bunch of people who are very, 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 very good at fundraising and organizing and bringing people together. And you're not gonna see just $108,000 anymore. You're gonna see more. And with this company, what I'm hearing from them is they're going to bring their expertise, and not only are they going to try to find the best numbers for the city, they want to turn it to our community and help our community more and try to get our community involvement in it and put money back into our community also and try to find parts and stuff locally instead of outside town. So not only are they willing to put into our community, they're bringing their expertise in and they're going to actually help. And what he mentioned on how he took a pool out of the red and they're going on the ninth season. That's huge. So I think they are a great benefit to our community and as is the people who are trying to get on the board. So I just wanted to add that.
All right, let me throw this out, just for a simple method. I'm gonna take you all out to lunch. We're gonna stop over a good restaurant. I happen to look at the bill as it's coming out. I've only got a couple of $1,000. The bill's $2,500. Now, what am I gonna do? Go wash dishes?
No,
Nope, we all chip in.
we all chip
And that's
in.
what we're facing.
Yeah.
We've got so much money that we can do things with. You want roads, you want fire division, you want EMS, you want police protection, water, sewer. You know, guys, it's black and white. We've only got so many funds to do so much. And as you and I also know, the cost of gas, DP&L, the gas to heat the buildings, the macadam that we put down for these roads that we repair, labor, everything has gone up. So
That's not
there's
gonna stop.
only no way.
That's not gonna stop. I'm just saying, everybody back here has a lot to bring forth.
And I understand that. I understand that, hey, we've had a much better situation since we talked about closing the pool than we've had any other time, probably in the last 2 years. You know, and I commiserate with that. But my problem is, what do we cut in order to make up the loss that we're gonna have? And I'll be honest with you, go ahead, Mike.
Bill, one of the things that I was thinking about is, and again, thank you to you guys, because this has been such an amazing conversation. The pool, you know, prior to, you know, when I got off of council 3 years ago, so the pool would continue to lose money. Some years it was really good, you know, it lost maybe $1,000. 1 year profited, I think like 500 or something. But if you took that average over the years prior to the past 2 or 3 years, the pool was losing $17,000 a year over a period of like 8 or 9 years, I forget. And I don't remember the timeline because I was on council when I crunched this number. But anyway, so I forget which one you guys were talking about during your speeches at town hall, about, you know, more parks, a dog park or more parks. You need to focus on the things you have before you build something new.
Amen.
And you know, I'm all for more parks, we're growing, but I agree with what she said. You know, Don's vision, your guys' vision was shut the pool down so you guys could focus on it. Let them run the pool, you guys can focus on it and figure it out. You know, and here's another thing, the general fund, up until a couple of years ago, the general fund had continued to go up every year, even though the pool was losing money. So the pool is not draining the city's funds as bad as what it gets to made out to be. I'm not saying it's not a loss, because I understand that. But the general fund, over the past, 8 years, up until about 3 or 4 years ago, continued to spike up into the 2 to 3 million, even though the pool was losing 20, 15, 18, whatever it may have been. So the pool was not, I mean, it's not sinking this ship as a whole as a city. I think it's an easy way to say let's cut it because we've got other things that we want to focus on. So, that's where I'm at.
Can I give a little bit of perspective?
Yeah, go ahead.
So, I mentioned before, we work with 15 municipalities, we're in conversations with several more. Contemplating what you're contemplating, yeah, it's an increase in the cost. And look, all of us come from a balloon squeezing world, whether it's groceries versus mortgage or whatever, you squeeze here, it goes there. What all municipalities say to themselves when they're facing a deficit, and 90% of them do, some are huge numbers compared to yours, they say to themselves, look, we only have a certain amount of assets that draw new people to our city. We only have a certain asset that everybody counts on, that they went to as a kid, now their kids and grandkids are going to. What is that? The general thing across all those municipalities is a pool or a recreation center. You have new communities building in this area, they're looking at what's here.
Yes.
If your pool is closing and the place looks like you're boarding it up, that's a little bit of an optics problem. The other thing that woke me up as a business guy, and I've lived in the corporate world and I've lived in this world, during the pandemic, prices of chemicals doubled over a 2-year period. The price of labor went from minimum wage at about $9 and change, and all of a sudden we had to pay people $15. We had to go back to our municipal partners, and some of them would have knocked your socks off, and every one of them said, we want our pool. Our pool is important, our people love our pool, it's a icon of the community, we'll figure it out, and every one of them did. And I don't know how they did it, they didn't tell me, I'm just telling you they all did it.
Well, I think I can speak probably for council. That's the reason we're all here now, that we're trying to figure a way to make this happen. We also have to do the things that the state of Ohio requires us to do about being solvent. If we don't, the state's gonna come in here and tell us what we're gonna do. And I don't believe you wanna pay us that. Go ahead.
We've been there before.
Yeah, we've been there before.
Fiscal watch.
And we had enough, I guess, 5 years ago? We didn't have enough in the checkbook to even write a check.
But that wasn't because of the pool. That was because of a few other things. I was here then.
We won't get into that.
Yeah.
I believe you have a motion on the floor.
So right now we have a motion on the floor for a special meeting on 11/10 at 6 o'clock to discuss Parks and Rec Board, do interviews in executive session, and swearing Parks and Rec board members.
Questions, comments? Councilman Bond said the city manager should be here, so I'd like to amend that motion from Monday, the 10th, thank you, to the 12th, which would be a Wednesday. It's not good? How about Thursday?
calendar's good for Thursday.
It's the NHS swearing, I don't know if that's actually.
Thursday.
Yeah.
Well, my suggestion is, let's go with the special meeting and get this Parks and Rec board here.
Okay.
And what else are we gonna do? Introduce the ordinance?
We'll be discussing the ordinance for the Parks and Rec board, doing interviews for the members in executive session, and then swearing those members in.
And I don't see any reason that Mr. Hall would object to those items. So let's go ahead and leave the motion as is for Monday and call the roll.
Okay. Councilwoman Wright?
Yes.
Councilman Lindsay?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Eccleston? Yes. Mayor Cook?
Yes.
Councilman Bond?
Yes.
Councilman Sheehan?
All right. Mr. Bond. Go ahead.
So when do you want to discuss the budget and the pool and this proposal and to keep the timeline in place?
Would it be apropos to have Mr. Kitco give with Mr. Hall and see when?
Mr. Mayor, so the schedule was open Thursday. We could set another meeting for Thursday to discuss the items Mr. Bond just mentioned.
We're trying to figure out a meeting schedule for the budget, so we do a motion for what we need to do to, right now it's tentative November 17th, December 4th is our budget timeline. If,
Should we intro on the 17th, but if we have a change to go with this, can we amend it when you're voting on it? Just that pool? Because I've got everything else drafted. If it gets introed as is right now, but then the decision is to not do it in-house and to go with them, can we just amend that part of the budget when we vote on it?
I think so. I think we can do it. And it can also be introduced as an emergency ordinance. If they keep within the timeline.
After the public hearing, council may adopt the budget with or without amendment.
and I think that would be better than emergency,
Right.
the perception.
We have time to.
I agree with you.
Finally.
It's historical.
Okay. Does that work for you?
Yeah, that gives more time to make a decision.
What's our pleasure?
So I think on November 10th, we'll have all this discussion, but it's a special meeting, so it'll be open. Then that'll be pretty busy, and then at that meeting, we could discuss finding another date. In between there, like I said, the budget will still be introduced on the 17th, even if, let's say, we didn't have another pool discussion meeting yet, and let's say we have it right after that, that could still happen. So that would be to be determined for another pool budget meeting.
All right, can I ask that we bring the laptop and the projector and put these figures on the wall?
On which meeting?
The
The intro?
the 17th, yeah.
17th, yeah, I can do it.
Okay.
Could you be here for that?
Can we do a good breakdown? So like the numbers she was saying, I think a lot of people couldn't fathom it.
That's,
Should we do a really good breakdown?
We can have it A and B.
Good, thank you. I'd like that. Great.
where am I at here?
Manager's report.
New Carlisle.
You guys don't have to stay for any more if you don't want. We're
Sure.
going-
No.
I know, it's fine, but.
I don't think we can add any more value.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't think we'll be making a decision.
Thanks for your time, appreciate that.
Thank you.
You want to move on to city manager's report?
Yes, sir. Let me get to. Starting on, so Monday, November 17th.
Quiet in the galley, please. Thank you.
On departmental reports, those will be submitted for Monday, November 17th. And then if that might get to be a little bit of a busy meeting, we'll get our reports to maybe where they're a little summarized for a little quicker viewing. Moving down to B, informational items, upcoming legislation. There'll be a supplemental potentially coming to you with a couple different items. Discussion topics, community food drive and SNAP benefits. Do you want to give just a little quick update on that?
So in lieu of the government shutdown, everybody's pretty much aware that, SNAP benefits, WIC benefits have been kind of not paid out. So we did activate our Social Services Commission to begin working with the food banks. Some people have already been donating food product to the fire department. We've had volunteers stepping up, making phone calls to businesses and other nonprofits and churches to activate more volunteers and more food donations. Luckily, it's been slow as far as the need of recipients. So we're kind of glad that we've had this emergency situation, but at the same time, it gives us opportunity to prepare. But I think it's also a blessing that people are not as in need as we maybe thought they were going to be. I think there's more changes coming with the SNAP WIC benefits that have just been released, I think, earlier today. That the government will be releasing partial payments for SNAP and WIC. So we're just going to kind of keep an eye on this over the next week or so and see where this is driving, and keep the Social Services Commission activated as well. The first meeting is this Thursday. So we were a little premature on activating the Social Service Commission, but we felt that was an emergency situation. And so they'll be discussing their bylaws and all the other things this coming Thursday in their meeting. So thank you.
Indeed. Did we just not set up a meeting for Thursday and they were gonna have a meeting?
Thursday, November 6th is the Social Services Commission.
Moving on, thank you, Mr. Moore. Moving on, possible donation to the city, that will happen we'll discuss that at the 11/17 meeting. You guys have already done the special meeting motion. Madison Street Heritage Forest, we're speaking with the person who is kind of doing some legwork for us. I would like to see if anyone on council or if anyone wants to select someone to meet on site for where the Heritage Forest project will go. So that way we can get some vision and kind of get a scope put together with a plot, like a plan, a site plan. So there's 3 trees. Yeah, 3 trees that will be delivered on December 1 for planting. So I'd like to probably get this meeting set up. It'll be well before that with the young lady, myself, potentially someone from my Public Works Department, and then a council member, so they're kind of involved with this project.
Volunteer.
What was the date that you wanted that?
I don't have a date yet. I would just personally contact someone if it's going to be Councilwoman Wright.
With the Parks and Rec group need.
If they're in there, they'll be in it as well. Yep. At the time of my subscription, it was. So Councilwoman Wright then to go. Okay, I'll be in contact then with you if council doesn't have any issues with that.
Mr. Kiko, will you add me to that contact list so I can also keep Parks and Rec abreast on that, please?
Can you remind me more on all this? And then that is all I have under informational items for tonight.
All right, committee reports, none. We got anything left with the audience?
All good.
What's the forest or the park you're talking about, what is that again?
So it was brought on by council, that, there was a need of place for like doing memorial trees. So up and behind where the Madison Street School is, you go up on the hill in the back where the old elementary used to be. They're looking to do a small park there where there might be honorary trees. It'll be something easily mowed, but there'll be possibly big oaks, they'll have memorialization, probably some decorated thing. Not a big park, but just some places for, long-standing citizens, stuff like that.
So I could buy a tree to donate to the park or something?
I think that will be a possibility in this, it's gonna be like a nature forest, anything that's, native to Ohio.
Cool.
All right, if nothing else from the citizens, I guess we'll go to the ordinance.
One introduction and one action tonight. Ordinance 2025-43, introduction on 10/20/25, public hearing and action tonight. An ordinance amending chapter 1066 of the codified ordinances of the city of New Carlisle, Ohio, for the purpose of adding fees and operating procedures for the columbarium.
Second.
In an explanation of this ordinance, we've been working on for a while. The city of New Carlisle has ordered a columbarium. It is a 80 niche, 40 on each side. The main driveway that enters into the cemetery, it will be sitting there just off to the right. This is adding the rules and regulations that will pertain to that columbarium. Prices, the niches, what you can put in it, engraving, things like that. And then also, we are taking a list of the first 20 to purchase. We'll get a discount for that. Let me see what else, is there anything in particular? And then all the niche prices, when you buy it, they'll be labeled in the table, so here soon you'll be able to see the price, or you can call up the city building and get those.
All right,
Any questions?
I hear none.
Councilwoman Wright,
Yes.
Councilman Lindsay,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Eggleston. Yes. Mayor Cook,
Yes.
Councilman Bond,
Yes.
and Councilman Shan.
Yes.
Ordinance 2025-44, introduction tonight, public hearing and action on 11/17/25. An ordinance authorizing the purchase of a 2026 medic unit and other business. Election day is November 4th, 2025. And city offices will be closed on November 11th to observe Veterans Day. And now it is open for any other city-related business.
Mr. Mayor?
I need a motion to excuse Councilwoman
I'd like to
Grove.
make a motion to excuse Councilman Thurlow.
Vice Mayor Eggleston. Yes. Mayor Cook.
Yes.
Councilman Bond.
Yes.
Councilman Shammy.
Yes.
Councilwoman Wright.
Yes.
Councilman Lindsay.
Yes.
Anything further? If
Move
not-
to adjourn.
Second.
Councilwoman Wright.
Yes.
Councilman Lindsay.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Eggleston. Yes. Mayor Cook.
Yes.
Councilman Bond.
Yes.
Councilman Shammy.
Yes.